The Michael Berry Show.
The lone survivor, Marcus Luttrell, retired United States Navy SEAL, was honored with the Navy Cross and the Purple Heart. His book became a bestseller. His life became a fantastic movie with Marky Mark in the starring role. He and his brother Morgan in the movie. He and his brother Morgan, who is 7 minutes older than him, celebrated their 50th birthday on Friday. Happy birthday, Marcus. Oh, sorry, my bad. I messed that. Happy birthday, Marcus.
Thank you.
Let's start before we get into the amazing story.
That was a great surprise, by the way, when you showed up. The missus kept that from me.
It was my honor. It was my honor. I don't go anywhere.
I know.
Fact, I told a buddy of mine that he texted, "What are you doing?" I said, "It's Marcus Luttrell's 50th birthday, and I'm driving out to see him." He said, "You don't go anywhere." And I said, "Well, I know this is the somewhere I'm going. Well, I like to. I don't want to be predictable. I did go somewhere this year." Tell us about the great gift you got, the Rigby.
Can you believe she got me that? I walked into the bedroom that night, and it was laying on the bed. And I've been wanting that thing.
Was
since,
it naked?
No, it wasn't. It was dressed up, but I recognized the case that it came in because it was unique. And I wanted one forever. And just because of the correlation between Mr. Rigby, my lab that I'd had so long, and the .416 caliber on the actual shotgun itself, which I was baptized on .416, and there's a lot of significance behind it. And in my family, in the will and the pass down, you get a cast iron skillet and a rifle, and it's the one I'm going to be passing down in the family from here on out. So I'd been wanting one. I couldn't believe she pulled it off too, because this is an exotic gun. So that was one of the best ones. And then everyone who showed up made the 50th the best. I mean, there was a lot of gifts that came rolling in through there. My brother really put out this year because we play golf every year, and every hole we go to, there's a gift waiting on the tee box for each other. And he actually got me my old BMX bicycle that I had. I had a Diamondback when I was a kid, and he found that thing and got it for me.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, I know. It was great. Matter of fact, when I tried to get on it and ride it, it's crazy how small I used to be back in the day. So that was great. I tell you what, man, if your listeners want to hear a Michael Berry story, dude, when y'all sat down to eat dinner, I was sitting there, and my buddy Cody comes walking up to me. Let me paint you guys a picture. This guy's huge, all right? He looks like a piece of rock. And Michael, he's up at the bar getting something to drink, and Michael walks up to him and goes, "Hey, we know each other. You know that? Or we've met." And the guy goes, "I don't remember." He goes, "Yeah, we got in a fight, man. I knocked you out."
Oh, that's what. Oh, yeah. I didn't realize that's who that was.
I can't believe you did that to him.
Yeah.
That just look on his face, and I go, "Who did that to you? Who said that?" And he pointed over to you, and I go, "That's Michael Berry." And he goes, "That's who I thought that was." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, he's great." I was like, that was the best one-liner I've ever heard. He does that, so don't like. He was the biggest in the room.
He looked down at my biceps, like trying to check out whether that was true. And I think it took about 0.08 milliseconds that he realized, nah, I don't think you knocked me out. I don't think that happened.
That cracked me up. He put my ass. I go, "He goes, I don't remember, but he could happen." Yeah, because he's huge. Right?
Yeah, he is. He is a monster. By the way, that's probably the 8th time I've been to Houston Oaks, and I think this every time. That is a nice place. They have really done an amazing job with the old Tenneco facility. Steve Alvis, Chuck Watts, John Havens, they have made that place into something special.
Can you believe it? I mean, the way it's grown up, it's a hidden gold mine or gem out here, paradise, if you will, out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Hey, Marcus, I don't know if you're on your back 40 or not, but we're losing you. Our signal is not too great. I don't know if I can get you somewhere to get you to stay put. Kind of fitting, isn't it, Ramon? We don't have good comms with Marcus Luttrell. Wow, this is like the real deal. That's authentic.
Yeah, we got to keep it authentic.
There we go. Well, let's talk about. So your bride had told me when she let us know about your birthday party that you would be completing the 40th day of a 40-day fast. She had sent me pictures from when you started the fast till then, and I guess it was from a couple of days earlier. But my goodness, it is. I posted about it last night, and a lot of people had questions. I've done 72 hours, and I thought I had done something. It's a pretty amazing thing. You described it as being spiritual more than anything else. Gandhi was the guy who kind of was famous for these very long fasts. Let's start with what makes a guy decide I'm going to do. Was this a Christ-like 40 days? How did you decide this? Was this to commemorate your 50th birthday?
It was. It didn't have anything to do with my 50th in the beginning, and because Jesus fasted for 40 days, and for the last 5 years I've been studying the faith real hard, and I've been getting into it. It's the one thing I was missing in my life, and it was definitely a faith, a pilgrimage to test myself, to get closer to God, and I didn't have any intention of getting onto a fast. I mean, because Morgan, my brother, he does it. He does 3 days and 5 days and some 7-day fasts. And I remember when he told me that he was doing that, I was like, it's insane. Why would I even go a day without eating? And we get so, you've been eating since you were born. You would get so accustomed to it that you wouldn't even think you do everything else to get around that. And you even take pills, but some people do to get around that. But I would have never gone a day without eating. And then he came up to me. We were at dinner one night, and Mel was out of the country. And he goes, hey, I'm going to start my fast. And this is back in September. He's like, I'm going to go a week. Why don't you go 3 days? It's good for you. And you know how smart he is. He's been doing all the research on it. And then the Bible talks about fasting a lot and how the benefits of actually doing a fast and what that does to you. And it initiates your body's natural defense mechanism for anything foreign inside of your body and eliminates it. So you don't actually have to go through all the pills and everything.
Is it autophagy? Is that what it's called? I think it's called autophagy.
Yeah. So in day 3, when your body hits autophagy, is when that starts to happen. And then you actually go into ketosis as well. So he goes, all right, I'm starting today. Why don't you do it with me? And I was like, all right, okay. He goes, you only go 3 days, and I'll go the entire week. And I was like, all right. So the first day came around.
All right, hold on just a moment. He's older and wiser now, 50 years old. Lone survivor Marcus Luttrell is our guest.
Move the receiver and listen for the dial tone. It sounds like this.
The Michael Berry Show.
That tone indicates everything is ready for your call.
We're speaking to, I would say, the most famous Navy SEAL of all time, Ramon, wouldn't you? I don't think that's a stretch to say. And a lot of Marines work very closely with him. I've heard nothing but wonderful things from them about him. 40-day fast on Friday. He completed that. He stopped drinking several years ago, but it was interesting. It was his birthday party, and the food was incredible, and he wasn't drinking anything. He was walking around with a bottled water. I asked him for his routine during those 40 days because my wife was curious, and it was as follows. Coffee, black, 1 to 2 cups in the morning. No coffee after 10 a.m. 1 bottle water every hour till 5 o'clock. Then 1 cup of hot water with lemon and a little pink Himalayan salt for dinner, then herbal tea till bed. Did you find, one of the questions a lot of people emailed, did you take any supplements, any vitamins, or anything else like that?
No, I didn't. I didn't do any of that.
What did you find was the hardest part? For most people, fasting, when you start, it is the routine, the habituated nature of eating, and that your brain is used to doing things, just like a dog, that you begin to salivate based on time. What did you find over the course of those 40 days became the most difficult part?
That never went away. So I had to switch it in my head. I started cooking dinner and all the meals. And then when the temptations would come on for food, I started watching food videos online, YouTube and Instagram, to fight it. I turned it into a fight.
Uh-huh.
Like if the devil was tempting me, and with food, which everyone, it's good for you. Food is good for you. Your body knows that, your mind knows that, and your spirit knows that. So this is why it's so tough to do this. Day 3 is when your body makes its shift. So you're going from a normal feeding routine to ketosis, and you can feel that. I was with Morgan all day that day, and I remember walking around. The best way I can describe it is it felt like I had taken a Vicodin or too much Vicodin. I was really dizzy and hazy, and I could move around. And then I didn't have my strength. Plus, I was 270, and I need a lot of food calories to move that kind of weight around. And I didn't have that. I didn't have any gas in my tank. But the minute when I woke up on day 4, and that's what I kept telling myself, I was like, just make it to day 4. We can get through this. It's doable. And you're right. The routine is the biggest thing. But the minute your body goes into ketosis and you start eating your fatty, like it starts chewing that away, there's a different kind of energy that goes with that. And I hadn't felt that before. And it was great. It was fantastic, actually. And then the autophagy sets in. You'll kind of hold weight a little bit, and then you'll go. I started chewing a pound a day off, and then it went to 2 pounds a day. But I would put 10 pounds of water inside my body. So I just kind of stopped weighing myself. I weighed in the beginning and then a couple of times, and then I stopped. And then my energy and my focus is what turned around, Michael. I mean, I cleaned the barn, all the barbecue pits, cleaned out my closet. Anytime anything Mel would put me on or something would come up in the day, I would focus on it so intently it didn't matter what it was. And remember when we were kids and it didn't matter what you doing, it was fun, from either playing in the dirt or being just anything. You had this kind of bliss that went with something that was new and that you were doing. I have that again. And it helped. And then I just kept telling myself that I would keep to the routine. And then anytime I got 2 hours to start praying, I prayed a lot. From in the morning, and then when something would come in front of me or someone would come over, they would have my complete attention again, which hadn't happened in a long time. And then when they'd leave, I'd go back to praying.
Was there a time of day that you found more difficult than the rest?
Absolutely. And my body, I mean, I didn't even have to look at a watch. The minute 1:30 rolled around till about 3 o'clock, that's feeding time. And and after 40 days, that never went away. And that's when I really started. That's when I started drinking the lemon water and the salt. And I told myself it was chicken noodle soup. And after I would get done drinking it, I would just tell myself that I was full, like I had already eaten. And then if my stomach hurt a little bit, I just would tell myself that I had something bad to eat. But I was full, and I just keep on. Because you can't imagine how much you concentrate on food during the day.
Yeah.
You can't imagine how many food commercials are on TV during the sporting events. So I'd always watch sport. Thank God football was on, because I'd look forward to an event at the end of the day, and that would take my mind off of the food. And there's so many things that you do, and eating doesn't take up a lot of your day, actually. You get down, you sit down, we break bread. But then immediately you're going to have to do that again. And I just started telling myself, and I was like, hey, look, we already ate. Let's just make it to the next meal, and let's do what we're going to do. And then that would kind of take the pain away. And I just got that. I did that until it routined in my head. And once I got up on step, I never looked back.
It's amazing, having done fast, as I said, obviously, just a few days, which I thought at the time was a big deal till I hear 40. But it's amazing to me, at a moment like that, I begin to realize how much we eat to kill boredom. We eat as as an activity. And so 100%. I found that doing something other than eating, but staying busy, made it much better. Did you find
100%.
Yourself doing that?
Absolutely. And snacking in America, especially, like if we had good food like overseas in Greece and stuff, like with the bread and everything, if you could just eat, still lose weight, that'd be great. But remember, the body is its own mechanism. So when you feed it, it feels – that's a drug. Basically, food is a drug because it knows it's getting reward, especially if it's great food. I mean, it feels good. But then it wears off like a drug, so you got to go do it again. And you kind of get used to that because of how good our food tastes, right? And then normally you're doing it with somebody, and then you're being entertained by it because when you're eating, it's usually it's a break, right? You're not working because that is absolutely what you described, and I had to break that cycle on that.
Well, the other thing about that, and people who go to, all of those programs, Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers, or there's 100 different programs out there that kind of help you through this sort of counseling approach, is they teach you how much eating is social. So don't do it with other people because it becomes a thing you do to be social, like drinking at the ball game or at a concert. And so when people are thinking about these powerful cravings, so some of that is, I think, the need to be around. We're social animals. The need to be around someone and visit with them, and the whole pomp and circumstance of sitting down to eat together and what are we going to get and all that.
If you knew, I remember when I was in the teams, the only thing that I really worried about was eating good food, and then I would do anything else. Men especially, you can go out them and work them till they bleed and almost die, but if they know they have a great meal waiting for them when they get done,
oh yeah,
they'll do it. And then, especially sitting around somewhere like a baseball game with a beer and a hot dog, that's Americana, and it's a good time, and it initiates a bunch of those endorphins in your head that you're having a good time, and it takes your mind off of your problems. And when you incorporate those two, and then it talks about in the Bible all the time too, it's like, hey, when you break bread with people, if you're eating good food with somebody, most people aren't arguing.
That's right. Marcus Luttrell's our guest. More coming up.
No matter whose fault it is.
The Michael Berry Show.
Because at Photomat, your photo matters.
Marcus Luttrell is our guest. You said you started at 272. What was your weight when you started?
Yes, sir, around 272.
And 40-day fast. I know you've lost 52 pounds, so you got down to 220. What's your fighting weight? What's ideal for you? Where do you feel the best?
228.
228. Okay, so you're even below that.
I am.
I noticed
I'm back at what I was when I was in SEAL training.
Which 220 was SEAL training?
Probably, yes, sir.
But you were probably leaner than usual. I noticed your belt. You had that look like little bitty kids who are wearing their dad's pants and belt. I noticed you had it cinched up real tight.
Tight.
It was a whole lot of extra belt. You were on the last hole. You had it so tight.
Last one, bro. I sucker was struggling. Yeah, that's true. He gets crimped up on the sides, and the shirt kind of, none of my clothes fit anymore.
So a lot of questions came in regarding your 40-day fast. I do not encourage people to do a 40-day fast, but I do think a day, even 2 days, is a very healthy thing. And everybody I know who's ever done it, it is an experience, and it's about, Marcus and I were talking about this on Friday, it becomes a power kick because when you're fasting, you can be at a dinner and there's a dessert and you will order desserts and hand it to people. It is the ultimate self-control, and there's such a sense of accomplishment to that most people will never forget. Most people are powerless over food.
Bro, I got trapped in an airplane going to New York about day 5, and they were serving lasagna and meatballs. And Mel's sitting there right beside me just having a great time. She's like, this is so good. I mean, it was nonstop, the temptation. But you're absolutely right. 1, 2 days, 3 days is what the autophagy, especially if you get to 3 days where the autophagy starts eating all the bad stuff away. Like if you have cancer or anything, it'll eat all that out of there. And it's a discipline and a willpower. And when you get done, you have that in your mind. Like, I can do this. I can get through this. If I can go without eating, I can do most anything. And absolutely, you're right on that about that.
It's inspiring, but so now you're 50 years old. You were 30 when Lone Survivor happened, and that was an inspiration to a lot of people, including my brother, who was the first person who introduced me to you through the book. And the team never quit, and that's your motto. But look, it's like Jim Brown as he aged, or Earl Campbell as he's aged. Was this for you internally a moment where you say, I got to prove to myself I'm not in the grave yet. I got to prove to myself that the young Marcus is still in there?
So everything that I've gone through in my life, there's always had to be a rite of passage that I stepped through to prove not only to myself but everybody around me that I was capable of something. And then obviously it was growing up, and then when I went through SEAL training, the Hell Week, when I pinned my trident on me, I was acknowledged by our peers that, hey, this is what you are, this is what you're supposed to be, you've done your gauntlet, you went through the fire. And when I got out, I didn't have my new purpose, and I had been searching for it. And as SEAL training tested my body, then when I came back around and I healed up after all the wars and everything, I was searching for my new purpose. When I went in and did the ibogaine, I found it in there, and the ibogaine tested my mind. And that was my mental gauntlet. And as I graduated from that, the new fire, hell week that I had to walk through to find my purpose, which is obviously into the faith and being as far away from war as I possibly can, I had to prove myself again. And the way that you do that is you go through 40 days without eating. You go through a 40-day fast, grow closer to God, walk with Jesus, to truly separate yourself from the earthly desires and everything like that, to see clearly what I was supposed to be doing. And that happened to me while I was in there. And I proved to myself, it's like its own academy, if you will. There's lessons in there. It was like being back in school. So every day as I was going through that, I realized that I was changing more and more towards my new purpose, and that flame kind of burns inside of you. And then when I graduated on my birthday, I didn't know it was going to be on my birthday. This is how I knew it was kind of a godly thing, because when I started, I had no idea I was going to go to 40 days. And about day 9, I was like, I wonder what 40 days comes out on. And sure enough, it was on my birthday. And I was like, Roger that, I'll do it. And I never looked back.
We talked on Friday night because that was your 40th day. So here are all these people. You're not drinking, you're not eating, you're just drinking water and enjoying the fellowship with your friends. And the next day was to begin your process of kind of reintegrating into the real world, and it was going to be bone broth. I asked you last night how that bone broth went for you, because it can be dangerous. If somebody wants to read about how you come off a fast, you can injure yourself. You can hurt yourself badly. Your body's not ready for that. You started with bone broth, and you said your stomach rumbled. Let's talk about what's happened starting Saturday through today with you trying to start back into foods.
Okay, let me tell you the hardest part of this is coming back. And I've had my ass whipped plenty of times. And when I wake up in the hospital and I'm recovering, there's people that take care of me. I'm not used to that unless I'm hurt, right? And now that people are taking care of me and I'm going through this slow process, I know that I've accomplished something. So the first 40 days were for discipline. These next 10 to 12 days are for patience. This is what this is teaching me, because I want to eat so bad. You know, there's 4,000 restaurants in Houston, and I want to eat at every one of them. I have literally eaten in my mind everything on the internet. I have these restaurants in certain states that we're going. I'm flying there. If anybody wants to go with me, that we're going to hit once I can eat. And just the fact that I have to sip on bone broth, and it's not a hunger thing anymore. That's gone. It's not the food, whatever. I'll go forever if I don't have to eat. Fine. My body will eat itself away. I've hit that mental mark where it's not a thing for me anymore. It's kind of like what happened to me in SEAL training with pain. But I got to tell you, bro, I sit there and they put this little broth in front of me I got to have a couple of vegetables in it, but it was pureed, right? So it wasn't anything I could chew on. Every now and again, I'd catch a scrap of something in between my teeth, and I'd be like, oh, thank God, I think that was an onion. And because I love to eat. I'm a big boy, right? And I this past 10 days is so frustrating to me. And since I'm off of it, everyone's enjoying themselves and eating around me and just being like, oh, you got to try this. And I know that if I do, it'll hurt me. Like, it'll whip me. And I don't want to – I'm trying to do this right and follow the directions and do what I have the best doctors and nurses that take care of me. And I don't want to disappoint them. And this part has been a struggle. So if you're wondering on a 40-day fast what the hardest part is, it's coming off of it.
Marcus Luttrell turned 50 on Friday, which was the 40th day of a 40-day fast. That's right, no food, only water and a little coffee in the morning, a little salt in the evening. We will talk to him about ruminations, marinations, and the wisdom of the lone survivor turning 50 coming up. On Friday, Marcus Luttrell turned 50. Which was the culmination of a 40-day fast. No food, only water. And, when he was feeling indulgent every morning, some coffee and a touch of salt in the evening. I told that last night. Said if there is anything anyone wants to ask about that, because you want to try a 2 or 3 day fast, let me know and I'll pass it off. And amazed how many people will tell you, you'll die. Well, he hasn't died. He hasn't died. Best I can tell, he's still alive. But when you do something like this, Marcus, and you are a person who likes to have a goal, you have a lot of intestinal fortitude. You're somebody who sets a goal and can push through pain and things like that. Have you set another goal for yourself? Is there something on the horizon?
I'm trying to be a deacon in the Catholic Church. So that's my overall big picture goal. And then I want to be a great father to my kids and an example. One of the things that I learned in here is behavior is always a better example than a lecture. And to lead by that, don't say one thing and do another. And it's kind of brought me closer to the realization of how I need to do that. I understand people are worried about how it makes you feel. It's a scary thing to give up food, but you can't. I mean, I feel amazing. My focus, and I've never had this kind of energy before, and my bones don't creak or ache anymore. It's an amazing thing that transpired while I was going through it.
When I was a kid, we had a mini bike. We hadn't bought it new. I don't know. We probably got it at a garage sale or something. It was just a couple of pipes with a little tape and duct tape over that, and a little, I believe it was Indian brand motor, just a tiny little, and you would crank it. And I wasn't strong enough to crank it, but my older brothers would. And I mean, it was a very rudimentary little mini bike, we called it. And every few years, my dad would spend the time to get it running again. And it was amazing to me how important it was to get the junk out of the engine, because that was what caused it. And I've come to view food as fuel in the purest sense. And you look at what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is talking about constantly, and what's happened to our food supply and what we're putting into our body. And in many cases, people don't know any better. They couldn't. You can't imagine how corrupted our food supply has become. And it's not until you get all of that stuff out of your system that you begin feeling pure and clean and happy and healthy and, as you said, focused. It's amazing what a difference it is. And that's kind of scary, because our food supply should be good for us.
That's why going overseas is so great. The food they have, like Greece and Italy, the food is so good. You eat as much of it as you want, still lose weight. Then do you have any idea what happens if you put sugar in the gas tank of your car?
Bad news.
And people shove sugar in their mouth and their tank. I mean, your body is your car. It's your avatar you have to live in. Your spirit's tucked in there. Everyone knows that. It's completely separate from your body. And when you feed your body, what kind of body do you have? You have a race car, put great fluid in there, fuel in there, and it will run like that. And when you do these fasts, which it talks about in the Bible, it's talked throughout generations before us. We just kind of got to this point in our life. We're in our era of decadence where we all love to eat, and who doesn't? But you're actually designed to go without food. And then when you do eat and you put it in there, it gives you a different kind of energy. I mean, a substantial energy. And your focus. Once you clean all that stuff out, just give it a try. Everyone else cleans your house out every now and again, a spring cleaning. You clean your car out. You run good fluids through it. Just try it one time and see what happens. And you'll be surprised what it does for you and your mind and your body and your spirit. I mean, difficulty strengthens the mind as labor does the body. So when you're doing this stuff, when you go through one of these fasts, it actually strengthens all of those things.
As your systems begin to adjust to the fact, it's amazing. There's a brain within a brain. It's amazing how our body prepares. We crave food. We prepare for what we're going to put it through. What did you notice your systems were doing now that they weren't getting food, which they were so accustomed to?
Well, most of the time I can run off my adrenal glands now, and when I'm in ketosis. So normally you only feel your adrenal glands fire when you're afraid. I have that all the time. I can feel that energy going through my body when I get up and I start moving around. If I get into something difficult, like I have to lift something heavy or have to move fast, I can feel that firing. And then I don't have my bones used to hurt all the time. My knees would crack, and my elbows and stuff like that were cracking all the time. Every time I'd stand up, that's all gone now. And the inflammation and the swelling that I would carry, that's all gone now. It's pretty amazing. Like, I feel great. I feel brand new.
You looked 10 years younger. I told you Friday night you looked 10 years younger. You had a youthful zest about you, and I know folks remember, but you have for a 50-year-old man, you have a lot more miles than that. Most of it chronicled on TV, and even more than that in the book. So you have lived in relative pain for for 20 years. So the fact that a fast could make you feel that much better. You looked lighter on your feet. You had a skip to your step. It was it's nice to see. It's amazing. And the thing that I tell people, I do a little piddly 2 and 3 day fast, but the thing that I tell people is I can't do it. You can do it. It's that first part and pushing through that first part. Once you get through that, you have complete command of yourself. I suspect you could have gone much longer than 40 days had you decided to do so.
My mind had already shifted over. Something happened to me on the 21st day. It woke me up. Like I woke up. I felt it in my body. It's like somebody hit me in the chest, and I kind of sat up real fast in bed, and my arms and my legs were numb. Oh, this happened to me. My sleep. I wear one of those Garmins to track my sleep, and the lowest score I had was a 93. Most of the night, it's 100. I have 3 hours of REM sleep now and 2.5 hours or 3 hours of deep sleep registered on my watch every morning when I wake up. And it says full recovery, complete balance, all of that. And on that 21st day, I woke up and once my arms I moved around a little bit and I could get the blood flowing because I was in such a deep sleep that everything, my body was falling asleep. And my organs and everything had slowed down so much that I was completely out. And then I could feel that thing in my chest, and I tried to fall back asleep, but it just kept growing. And my energy levels kept spiking up, or I had to get up. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. And I just started moving around, and it hasn't gone away since then. That was the one thing about it was that sleep. And I good Lord, when that hit me, that was on mid-20s. And so the 30s were nothing. Like when I got to day 20-something and I had day 30 in my sight and to day 33, and then I just shifted into 6th gear, and it was on.
You've got a different gear, that's for sure. Marcus Luttrell, we love you, brother. Happy 50th.
Love you guys. God bless y'all.
50 years old after a 40-day fast. That's not for the light of heart, I'll tell you that.
Dad, look at the stars.
Mr. Michael Berry.
Come on, George. Go to sleep.
I can't. I'm too excited.